Hi, I'm Yasmin Boland. I'm an astrologer and a Sunday Times best-selling Hay House author. So I have a question for you today. Have you heard of Mercury Retrograde? It's an astrological phenomenon which sees the planet of communications, Mercury, appearing to reverse in the skies. It happens up to 4 times a year, and it's often thought of as a time when life can go a bit haywire. So people tend to dread it. In fact, I often get emails from people saying that such and such a negative thing happened because Mercury was retrograde. But Mercury retrograde is almost never to blame like that. In part, it's wanting to set straight this misconception that led me to write the Mercury Retrograde book, which I've co-authored with my fellow astrologer, Kim Farnell. Mercury retrograde is actually a very positive time. If you tap into it with an open mind, it's a time to rethink, review, revise, and other things like that. And that's one very big point of difference between how I see Mercury retrograde and how some of the crazy things that people copy and paste about this cycle on the internet. So here are a few facts about Mercury retrograde. Number 1, contrary to popular misconception, Mercury retrograde is not bad luck, not at all. It can actually be used to your advantage. For example, an old friend could get back in touch when Mercury is retrograde. It's all about redoing, rethinking, revising. You could finally manage to finish that work project that's been driving you crazy. Okay, why? Because you probably started it under Mercury retrograde, then you can finish it under Mercury retrograde, however much time later. Or, for example, a gadget could break down, but guess what? You could get a new one and a better one under Mercury retrograde. Gadgets do break down under Mercury retrograde, but often we end up with something better. You could renegotiate a contract or your job description in your favor. Okay, so number 2, the sign that Mercury is retrograding in is really important because it will give you an idea of the sorts of themes likely to come up during the retrograde period. Plus, you can use the themes of the sign. So, for example, if Mercury is retrograde in Leo, you can shine your light if you were too shy to do so before. It's like a second chance. Mercury retrograde brings second chances. Or be open to new ideas and new ways of having fun, depending on which house Mercury is triggering in your chart. So, for example, let's just say Mercury is going backwards in your 7th house. That could easily see you reconnect with an old lover because the 7th house is about love. Mercury retrograde can reconnect you to past events too. What you start under one Mercury retrograde, as I said, you can often finish under a future Mercury retrograde period. Okay, so yes, Mercury retrograde does have a reputation for a reason and it can cause annoying delays. But it can also cause good delays that work out in your favor, to your benefit. Also, Mercury retrograde increases the focus in one area of your life because Mercury is the planet of the mind, okay? So when it's retrograde, it means that the mind planet, Mercury, is staying longer than usual in one part of your chart. So focusing mental power and attention for longer in one part of your chart is what's going to happen, and it can be very beneficial. That's just one very big point of difference between this book and just about anything else you'll read about Mercury retrograde. The Mercury retrograde book shows you how to use Mercury retrograde to your advantage. There's a reason why the gods and goddesses created Mercury retrograde, and it's not just to annoy us. You can use it to your advantage no matter which sign it's in or where in your chart it's triggering. The aim of this book is to give you tools to turn chaos, Mercury retrograde chaos, into creativity. This book will definitely appeal to anyone on an astrological journey, whether you're just starting out or quite a long way into it. All you need is an inquiring mind, and Mercury will do the rest.